This week on RSBANDB Update, it's Quest Week once again, and we summarize and analyze Pieces of Hate, as well as talk about what's next for the line, including Agaroth, Xau-Tak, and Demon Kittens. Plus, a catch-up on RS Mobile and what Facebook has been up to this week. This is RSBANDB Update, episode 663, recorded Thursday, March 22nd, 2018. Waterboarding Wilson. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us for another episode of RSBANDB Update. Pieces of Hate has come out, and of course that means that it is Quest Week once again here at RSBANDB Update. If you guys are joining us for the first time, Quest Weeks are one of the most looked forward to elements of RSBANDB Update. And to celebrate Pieces of Hate, the finale of the Pirate Quest line, we have joining us for Quest Week, Colton.
Ahoy!
And Earth, who you guys remember from a long time ago, started Quest Week here at Update.
Howdy.
And
Did
of
I
course,
do that?
yeah, you did. And of course, in addition to myself, Tanis is here as per usual. We're just gonna sit here and let these two relics
Do
Go
your
to
job
town.
for you.
That's right, do the job for us. So with Pieces of Hate.
It's fitting, though, because, Colton is quite the lore expert, and I remember when I first started listening, Earth was always on every Quest Week and explaining how, the plot holes and the ins and outs and everything, so I look forward to this analysis.
Yeah, definitely. And this is, of course, a Fifth Age quest, and that's something we need to remember when we're going through this. I know there are questions asked about various elements later on, but we'll get to that when that pops up. But, as it is a Quest Week, you do need to be aware that spoilers are ahead. I once did not give the spoiler warning before Quest Week began, and I got a couple of angry
Shame.
messages.
You
Uh-oh.
monster.
How dare you?
Yeah, but
Can't believe you've done this.
anyways, before we begin, let's go through the requirements of Pieces of Hate. They are 81 construction, 82 fire making, 83 agility, and 85 thieving, while 110 combat is recommended, as well as completion of Gertrude's Cat is a requirement, and completion of a Clockwork Syringe. So, those are the requirements for this quest.
Kind of hefty.
Yeah, they are. And, that they're Grandmaster requirements, of course. But at the same time, I want to focus in on the 110 combat requirement for just a moment. We'll get to the actual mechanics of that later. Do you guys think 110 is a sane recommendation, or should it have been higher?
I think it's fine.
Yeah, it can certainly be done with 110. Maybe 115 would have been a little more conservative, but I think it was just fine as is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that sounds good to me. I think the order that's been decided here is that during this, Colton will give the general overview of the quest. Earth will jump in along the way, and Tanis and myself will pop in with questions should they arise. And for those of you guys listening from Clan Quest here, you'll realize that I did ask for you guys questions this week. A good number of these questions are going to be answered in our question segment, but we're also going to attempt to hit a few of them as we are progressing through the storyline here. So just make note of that if we don't mention the name of who asked the question, your questions were taken into account for the discussion period. So, shall we begin?
Sure, yeah.
Sure.
Shove off.
Hey, that's what the pirates say.
That's what they
That's the joke, Shane.
Very good. Okay. So the quest begins. Yeah, please feel free to chime in because my notes begin to get sparse, and it's been a few days. But yeah, we start out, and you get a letter from Posty Pete when you go to your player-owned house portal, I believe. It's from Bill.
I had an embarrassingly difficult time with that because I teleported to my house and I waited a minute and I was like, well, where the hell is he? And then I went outside and it just never occurred to me to click the portal because, that would make But like the directions weren't very clear there.
Yeah, it said
Probably
like
my
near the
fault.
portal.
Yeah, it said near it, so I
Uh-huh.
expected to just teleport there and be like, oh, it's right there. But, you know.
And, you know, they did have a good way of bringing people onto the quest when the Regicide quest started. You know, the guy would appear and magically give you the piece of paper, and you know,
Yeah,
it should have just been right.
That's what I was thinking was going to happen.
It should have just been bound to area around your POH portal.
Yeah, that was the impression I got from the description.
Anyways,
But minor complaint, not a big deal.
Oh well. Anyhow, so we get this letter. It's from Bill Teach, and he suspects that the customs office is up to some stuff. I believe there's been a rash of possible disappearances of law-abiding pirates, as it were, or if that's a thing. So we are basically from that to intuit that we are to go to the customs office because he is at the Rock, which is that Rock Island prison that we've been at before. So it's a very similar, familiar note to.
I think we rocked it out.
I was about to say it was rocking out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Before you get there, though, when you're talking to the customs officer, did you guys see the
Trust me.
options?
Yes, I saved most of them as pictures. I
spacebar through quests.
Yeah, I can go through them if you'd like. I spacebar through quests. I tried to equip Goblin Mail. I sold my cat for death runes. I don't visit my kingdom. I play mini games for fun. I forgot my brass key. I once alked my party hat. I leeched bosses for comp. I lured a player for all their stuff. I always mine the sand and stone someone's mining. I filled the party room chest with junk. I told Meg to shut up.
I chose that one.
Rude.
I asphyxiate North Pool Yakamaru. I never cap at the Citadel. I set up cannons at Chinchampa's. I bought all the beads for Imp Catcher. So, and basically everything you get for that. I believe I chose that I tried to equip Goblin Mail as it is a true story, I believe, for most everybody. And then you get kind of a generic, like you're a monster or how could you get kind of a thing. Get that. It is a rather interesting, and if you don't go past, because the first panel of dialogue options are fairly like I'm a murderer, I'm a
yeah. I didn't know those were there.
Yeah, I just did that.
Yeah. And and you kind of miss a little bit of the cheeky responses because I was like, oh, what's this more? And then more, and then more, and then more. So there was
are several places like that, though.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So yeah, that was a nice little bit that I enjoyed and I certainly laughed at. But and then you're taken to Rock Island Prison, which is, at least from what I was getting, this has been graphically updated.
Yes, definitely.
It is quite pretty now. Good filters, everything like that. My game crashed at that point, but that didn't have anything to do with that, I don't think. But then what we have to do is that we are, escaping as usual. I don't know what why don't glazed over eyes taking. Well, I'm sorry, I'm trying to decipher my notes here. I do not understand.
That's
what
a
I was
problem.
writing.
That's a problem we all have at some points in time.
Taking off prisoners.
And
oh well.
I think you were probably trying to get off the island. And, we've done that before in the quest, and I think the whole point of this was just to free the people that we were in prison with, yes?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah. Right. And we had the two fellows in one cell next to us, one of them which was being sufficiently annoying in repeating everything you say, and the other had a hook hidden somewhere on his person. Don't know where.
Didn't we have to talk to Bill first?
Yeah, we have to. So Bill is to the left, and then, depending upon your perspective, I guess. But yeah, so you talk to Bill, and then you get the And this is the classic use things on random things kind of puzzle or series of puzzles, which I found interesting. I couldn't find that stupid rat hole to save my life.
Right?
I thought it was just a black
Same.
spot on the screen or in the actual graphics. And so I was like, wait a minute, what the? So I
didn't want to touch
use
the
that
hook.
trap.
Like, do we really have to touch it?
Yeah, I had a difficult time with some parts of it. Like, I was able to get the fish. Like, you attach the cloth to the hook and then you fish with it. But I had a hard time figuring out what to do after that.
Yeah.
Well, no, you put it on the rock and then the bird comes and gets it.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was kind of at a loss for what to do. And then it turns out you just throw the fish in, which was the first thing I'd done.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because I mean, we've done the thing with the seagull before. So I initially just threw the fish in, but it gives you a message that basically says that it's not going to be enough. You need something else to create more commotion. And so, I mean, the perch rock is right there. So I just did that again. And then, I don't know, I think it took me a little while as well to get to the conclusion that I need to get another fish and throw it.
Yeah, like I tried to hook the bird or something. It's like, you can't threaten me.
Count Ludwig Koppen or whatever.
Crappen, what was it? You know, it's Koppen Ploppen. The other one was...
That was it.
Crappen Ploppen?
Oh, boy. So, yeah, essentially what you have to do is that you get the seagull to create enough commotion to get the guards to leave the place. And then somehow in doing so, the hook is sharpened. Is that?
Yeah, I think
the hook is sharpened when you go fishing. The crabs whittle it down, and you get the fish at the same time.
Okay, and so that's how it gets to the point where it can be used as a lockpick. So once you get them out, you can pick the lock. You can get out of the jail cell. You can shout through before you unlock it, actually. You can shout through the gate still when they're gone, and you can shout some rather interesting things. I think Chinchompa blood doesn't melt steel beams was one of the one of the things that I got.
I didn't do that. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't either.
So, and then you unlock it, and you shut the guards out. And then you have to basically, you get Bill Teach out, and then the rat Wilson, as we come to learn that his name is, steals the hook, and so we have to trap the rat, which or the mouse or whatever he was a rodent of some sort, and so you have to then kind of use an assortment of your surroundings as usual, just like you did previously in this quest, and trap the rat, and you have to then interrogate the rat.
At this point, I was just scratching my head.
The interrogation was confusing. It took me I got so close the first round of interrogations, and I picked the wrong one at the very end.
And then
it probably took Shane forever because he had to be nice.
Yeah.
Well, like, where's the option to kill it? I don't know. There's no kill it option.
I need the waterboard option.
What, Shane?
The waterboarding option.
Oh, for the love of God, Shane.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about Chinchompa blood or whatever melting steel beams, I think it's safe to say that we can call this the meme quest.
Okay. That's not where I thought you were going with this.
No. Hey, I'm going to keep it PG.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Yeah. Make sure it says so. Oh boy. Okay. So yeah, you interrogate Wilson, and you end up getting the keys to the rest of the cells, and you get the Eastern Lands lady. Was that a lady? It was a lady, right?
Yeah, but I think
yes.
I forgot a couple important spots though, because I don't think we mentioned that you have to push those barrels in front of the door so the guards don't come in.
Yeah.
I mean, her
Doesn't
name's
progress.
Madame Shih or something.
Oh, yeah.
so
There you go. Just wanted to make sure.
all signs point to that.
I didn't write down her name.
I just assumed female because I saw Madam.
I mean, that would
you
make
should
sense.
have shame.
How dare you assume her gender? So, yeah. And then you let her loose, and then Two-Eyed Eric, and then the other one whose name escapes me. And you get them out, and then
Jimmy the parrot.
Jimmy the parrot. Yeah, because that makes sense. And then you have to unlock the door, which has kind of a magic quote unquote seal on it, which requires a certain passphrase at a certain vocal range. It appeared. I don't know. Maybe it was just that he was it that he had to sound like them, or that he had to just know the passphrase.
I had to know the passphrase.
Okay.
Yeah, that confused me. I was looking for an actual parrot, and there was no parrot. Just Jimmy the parrot. Yeah.
But
Little
eventually,
heavy-handed.
yeah, little. But he says the magic words and opens the door. Go up, and you find a Crassian, which, I don't know, to me it was a little shocking because when that was the terrible
Internet
tutorial.
Concerns? Is
Was
that the
it?
same thing?
Those are the slugs.
Because so are the slugs, yeah.
Yeah.
A Shadow over
I feel
Ashdale?
like there should have been
Yes.
I feel like there should have been more overlap between the two,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that's for later.
Yeah.
Because
But
he just
anyhow,
came out of nowhere, practically. But anyway.
Yeah.
It was strange. I mean, yeah. But anyhow, on this first floor, you have Crassian and a pool of muck, and then inside the barrack, the bunks, there is another pirate. Who was he? Do we remember who that
He was
was?
a customs officer.
Okay.
Yeah, just a plain-
Sorry,
Customs officer. We need him because we need to take his clothes.
we already have his clothes. Though.
Yeah, the clothes are in the downstairs.
locker
We got
downstairs.
all
Oh, right,
yeah,
okay.
out of the cabinet. The rum comes
needed-
from the locker.
Yeah, we needed the keys from one of the bunks. The keys and then something else, I guess. I can't remember what that was for.
But you only find that out
Upstairs.
when you have to examine the poster. Is it when you walk into the stairwell? Like, if you don't look at that poster, it doesn't advance. Because that's what... There's a note written behind it that says, "I've left my keys
Oh, yeah.
under the bed."
Yeah, I missed that the first time.
Yeah.
So I had to go back through everything.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
That seems to be a thing that we all did then. All right. I don't feel so bad about it now.
So, essentially what you have to do... Oh, boy. This is another using things on random things. You get Okay, I didn't write these down, but you get a pineapple. You get, quote, rum, quote. Somehow you have Wilson at this point, and you stick Wilson to a sticky pineapple.
And you make the pineapple sticky by putting the pineapple on the slime.
And then you toss that into the room, and the customs officer is just enthralled by what is going on.
Completely unable to see anything else, even if you run literally right in front of his face.
Well, I didn't. try
Clearly, they picked the best man for the job.
that. Nothing gets by him. So yeah, you do that, and then you get the keys, and you open the door to where these pirates in eggs are.
Mhm.
For some reason, I was having difficulty kind of piecing this all together. I mean, was it part of the mind control stuff? Is that what was going on?
I just knew it was some weird shit and it needed to go, so I killed it.
Yeah, you burn it. You burn it with the rum.
It ain't right, was all that I got from it.
And that's where, at this point, where one of the funniest
Yes.
lines of dialogue appears.
What was it? Do you have that down?
No, well, I mean, I don't.
Is that the
It wasn't
"I am the Lord
dialogue.
of Hellfire"?
No, it was when you just start burning them and they
Oh.
start the whole. "Ree!" Hashtag
Oh,
that
I
way.
have a screenshot.
Yeah.
What is that?
Hold on.
People are making a big deal out of that, and I don't understand. Is that a reference to something?
Hold on.
Yeah, it is.
I'll get you the meme.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
I feel like you would have come across that one, Colton.
I guess I haven't.
Okay.
I don't know how.
All right.
I am uncultured.
Shane, you have to play this.
All right, we can
I
play
I
this.
just
no.
want I just want everyone to know that the user who uploaded this is named No Thoughts.
Wow. Okay. Here we go.
I've never seen that before. Wow.
So, Shane, I think we also are obligated to play something else right now.
no.
Yeah, that's where that comes from.
Be gone, fuck!
Here you go, Shane.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Oh boy, is this getting cut out? I feel like
Hey, we're
It shouldn't.
like we
It's
said.
relevant to the quest.
Yeah.
I think it should
This
stay.
is 100% relevant to the quest because it's a reference within the quest, and that's why I called it the meme quest.
Yep.
So, anyways, you burn them up, and then what, Colton?
you burn them up and then you go upstairs. Right? Yeah, and then you see Migor and a mysterious figure.
Oh, I wonder
idea
who that could
might
be.
And they are using like a serum of some sort, and there you have a plot to basically like destroy Most Harmless and take it over. So evil things, and then we are noticed, and then we gotta skedaddle. So that's what we do, and gather the troops and dive off the pier.
And
As is.
And I
As you
think
do.
that at this point, I think we can say that this forms the rest of the bulk of the quest in terms of what our ultimate objective is going to be. And I think we can say it at this point, the mysterious figure in this dialogue was Rabbit Jack. I think we can all agree on that, right?
What?
No.
I hadn't
Rabbit
put those
Jack.
pieces together.
Like,
Who is
he
that?
died.
Shock and awe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Rabbit Jack. Ooh. So
I mean, we knew that coming in, I think. I don't know
Oh,
if
for
anyone
Yeah, we did.
didn't.
It's the finale to a quest line that kind of centers around Rabbit Jack, and we've not met Rabbit Jack.
I think the mysterious figure is probably Rabbit Jack.
Yep,
Safe to say.
definitely.
I don't know. I think that's a stretch.
Reaching. So
Around.
we get kind of this weird, like, maybe I didn't get why this happened, but we, like, three of us, Madam and Bill Teach, Madam Shih and Bill Teach and the character all float up on Karamja, and we're like, oh, the other two are gone, I guess? And
Yeah,
we're like,
that was-
okay, now let's go to Most Harmless. Like, why didn't they just take us to Most Harmless?
I guess it's a longer swim.
Because it's real far away. Let me.
Yes. Where's Rock Island?
Rock Island was in between
that way.
Karamja and the desert.
Oh,
That's where it was supposed to be.
okay. I guess I've not really looked at that. Okay. Well, okay. I guess that makes more sense. But then we end up finding them anyhow when we get to Most Harmless. How did they get there? Do you guys have that tomorrow?
They rode there on the plot, I think.
Yep.
Yep.
They
That
dropped
was-
right through a hole and landed in the basement.
That was what I got out of it.
Because I mean, you can just go there and whoa, we're here. It's an instant teleport. So I just
Maybe
assumed that
they
was part of
drank
the
the
quest.
rum.
Or
They
maybe
had a pirate spell sheet.
Oh, the island doesn't appear to be on the world map.
yeah, they removed it.
Or no, it is. I think it
Is it?
is.
It's not in
like
its own instance area.
it's the thing on the right. I think
Yeah, that's
Isn't
where it's
it?
supposed to be. Yeah.
that's what it looks like.
Huh.
Though I
That's
think they
funky.
would have had to remove that with NXT because if you were there in NXT, you would have been able to see Karamja.
So
That's breaks immersion.
How's
Does
that?
it?
Yeah, I think it does.
I mean, I expect on an island, if I see another, like, landmass, that's not gonna be shocking to me or anything.
Yeah, but how else would they import the graphical textures for that? I don't know. I'm probably just making a big deal out of nothing here, but like if you look at the environment we had on the rock, you can see why it's different now and why it's no longer on the map, because that doesn't exist where that is on the world map right now. That kind of environment.
Huh.
But that's where it was
Okay.
in the past.
And that's where, I guess, in lore it is located at least.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm willing to accept that part of it, I think.
Regardless, that point of the plot was, I mean, could have been done without, in my opinion. But I mean, it maybe it helps for just being logical and in location. But regardless, then we meet up in the basement of the Most Harmless bar, where you have to take, what is it, a long drop.
Long drop.
Mm.
That was one of my favorite parts, because your character was just like, ah! Oh, Stella, it's okay. It's okay.
They've done it.
It's okay.
Oh boy.
My dog just topped up. Are you okay?
Oh boy. So yeah, you go down there and you've got magically the other two pirates whom were assumed dead, I think, are there,
Yeah.
along
Plotted
with
their way there.
yes, along with
Plotted, of
Brass
course.
Brass Hand Harry and a few others are there. Just some
No
piratey
beard,
folk.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if these are people we've
He's
met
in no
before.
beard. He's the guy from the agility course in Brimhaven.
Yep, that's who that
Oh,
is.
okay. Well, that makes sense, I guess. So, but yeah,
Well, let's also not forget the zombie head that's there.
yes.
Well, he comes in too in just a minute.
Yeah, spoilers.
Yeah, we discussed the fact that we are in need of insider intel about Rabbit Jack and his location, and so it is deemed that the most appropriate for the job would be the sentient zombie head. That is,
I don't remember him. Like, was he in a previous quest or something?
was it Clockwork?
Yeah, I think it was. Well, I was trying to think if it was Clockwork or not.
Because
It's one of them.
It's
When
been
did
years.
that one come out?
Years.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
Yeah,
nine
like-
maybe.
Oh, good lord! Seriously? Was that the last one in the series?
Or maybe it was 2011. Maybe I'm off my own.
Well, over half a decade.
Yeah. Essentially.
Yeah.
So,
You also have to interrogate the head.
2011. Yep. Oh,
hmm
okay.
yeah. So you end up having to interrogate the head in order to. This is our second interrogation scene in this quest. In order to get them to agree, and I can't remember exactly the. You had to basically be kind and then offer a
And then,
deal.
yeah. You
Yeah.
can't beat him, Shane.
I tried all
Like you
of them.
can't threaten him to be a shocker ball.
Yeah, Shane wanted to send him to Guantanamo.
I never said that.
You implied it. You said you wanted to waterboard it.
That was the
That's like-
mouse.
Okay, well, I think if you're willing to do that, then yeah, I think that was a logical extension of your like thought process.
Yeah. And they even
And-
got a remark
See,
in
you even
when you're
agree.
talking to the head about flat earthers and how if the earth...
Oh, really?
Yes, they did.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah. Well, and two, like, did you notice how he like shoots your character down because he just wants love and stuff, and you're like, well, I guess we can make that happen. He's like, yeah, no,
You're not my type.
yeah.
Yeah, that would open up all sorts of uncomfortable things.
And when you say the earth is
Which-
round, he says, oh, we'll all fall off. So it must
Yeah,
be
Shane,
flat.
Wow.
I won't talk about that. I know you try to keep this show, PG.
Okay.
So you're welcome.
All right, so we
Because we could talk
Swiftly
about
on.
the implications of that.
could talk about a lot of things on the show. We could. Anyways,
Good.
let's
Yeah,
talk
but
about the
should we?
interrogation of the head and move on.
Yeah, no, you interrogate the head, and essentially, in the end of it, you have to find a companion for the head, and then they have to, what was it, a sunset on a west-facing beach, drowning in culture, as it were. I thought for a
So you
second that
get
it
to-
meant literally drowning, so I thought we were going to have to kill it with like music going on, maybe. I don't know. But
Get it drunk.
To like
Did not
Huey
be-
Lewis and the News.
yeah, there you go. Part of rock and roll.
Shane, that's a famous band.
I'm aware.
Okay, just making sure.
Shane knows it's hip to be square, so.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
Perfect. Perfect.
All right, let's go back in time here. All right. So yeah, you end up going to Gertrude or Gertrude or however her name is said, and yeah. So we speak to she tells us to speak to her children about getting a pet for the hideous monster we have in our backpack. And
That's a normal thing to do.
yeah, totally. So we are directed to go to the sawmill, apparently, for some reason.
Because that's where all
she
the
where it
won't-
was
that's
in
where the
Gertrude's
kids-
cat.
Yeah, and that's where the kids tell you to go because she won't
Yeah.
come off a cat.
because that's where all the kittens are in the first cat quest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Boy,
your
that's
character just, I don't know, knew it somehow.
Yeah, we go there all the time for the clue scrolls.
That's a good point.
Yep.
I mean, there's what, a hot air balloon right there, right, Shane? Did you take the hot air balloon?
No, I actually just went. I just
Aw.
actually ran straight through Varrock after talking to Gertrude and just ran there.
Disappointing.
Wow, peasant.
Yeah,
Easy way.
I teleported to the dig site
Oh, good.
and then ran from there
Oh.
because I'm cool.
Oh boy. And there we find in the shaking crate, good old Wilson, our rodent friend has returned, and we find out that this will do in terms
He's
of a
pissed.
companion.
Yeah, now that's what I was a little curious about. How in the hell did he get there?
I was wondering that as well.
Reasons.
I
Well, he
guess
fell in one of those
not.
holes again.
There was a shipment from Rock Island.
Uh-huh.
Of
yeah,
pineapples,
correctly.
and the pineapple had Wilson on it.
It had lumber on it or something.
That's
I
a
don't
good
know.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's to the lumber yard. That was weird. But
Did you guys get the same, like, I'm curious about some of the dialogue, like it's right here and then a little bit later, but so Wilson needs a collar, and so you have to go get leather and
Yeah.
gold bar.
Gold bar.
Did you have that on you when you talked to him?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
How
So did I.
convenient. Yeah.
Okay. It's
I'm
like
sure
he was
you
a
did.
guiding force showing you the
Uh-huh.
way.
Yeah. The quest.
I like how they make fun of that though, because they put the
Yeah.
required items in the thing, so like but they did that even before they started putting those in. I think
Yeah.
there's a wise old man quest. I just appreciated that.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
The self-awareness.
Because I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm busted. They know. They got me.
yeah, and you could almost call this breaking the fourth wall, but they don't, and I think that's good. It's just a nice, subtle way of reminding people that the Jagex overlords are watching us as we do the quest.
Wow, that's not creepy, Shane.
Well, Overlord Raven, at least,
Yeah, mainly him for this quest.
This is kind of an offhanded question, but are there any like in Clan Quest that we know of who are people who won't even use the quest guide, like recommendations for items and everything like that. They have to find out what items they need on their own, kind of thing.
I don't use a guide. The only exception is boss fights, because I'm just terrible at combat in this game.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later with me too.
But I'll look at the required items and make sure I have them, because when I sit down to do a quest, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I feel like that's fair game because it's already included in the game. I would agree. It's not cheating.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't have to go to the third party.
And the quest journal is fine.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay, just wanted to ask.
Because it's in the quest journal. I'm sure there's some people who won't even do that, though. But,
but if we get an Elemental Workshop Part 5, I will not even touch the quest
don't
journal.
you start with that shit.
Yeah, no shit.
As long as he keeps saying it, it's not going to happen.
That's true.
You
Keep
can't
it going.
speak it into existence, and so it will never happen.
Maud Osborne is playtesting an unannounced non-6th Age quest that's going to be coming out in the next couple months.
Gnomes. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that needs
Come
to be
on.
gnomes. Oh.
I'd much prefer gnomes.
Jeez. Anyway, we have a head that needs to get to a beach.
Yeah, we take the head to. Did you guys know? I kind of was like, Karamja, I think, was like my third choice.
It was very apparent to me personally.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
well,
because I knew that. Because I knew that there was. That's a good choice too, but that's not what screams beach to me.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I had a feeling it'd be on Karamja, and I knew because I used to go through that area a lot on my farming runs, like to the Calquet patch there.
Yeah.
I knew that there was a musician right there, so it just immediately in my mind I went straight there, and it was like, hey, this is the right place. And it was like, neat.
Yeah, and the only other major western-facing beaches you could possibly get would be in the desert or Taranin.
Yeah. Oh well. So you go there, and it basically will give you a dialogue indication of, hey, we need to stop right here, and so you do, presumably at least, and then you bring lovely gnome drinks to the head as it sits and enjoys its. So wait, how does it? Let's break down the physiology of this. How's that gonna work? Where's that gonna go?
He makes smart comments about that too.
And how's it going to get inside
prepared.
inside the head? It has no arms.
Presumably you helped it out.
Yeah.
You've been carrying it around. That's not too much of a.
Okay.
The
Maybe the
digestion,
musicians might
I'm
have done
afraid
it.
of.
I don't know.
It just goes.
Well, it
straight
probably
into
just goes straight to its head.
Show is done. We're canceled.
This has been RSBANDB Update, episode 663. We'll see you next week, everyone.
All right, bye.
Reed is actually gone now. Oh boy, we only had him for a short amount of time. So yeah, you give the drinks. There's a chocolate sundae. That's the last one. There's Drunk Dragon and Blurberry Special.
Yep, Blurberry Special.
So you give those lovely gnome beverages to the head, and then.
Now, could you use the pre-made ones for
Yes.
that? Oh, oops. Well, I had a stock of all of them. So
Lucky
whatever.
you.
How and why?
I used to do a lot of gnome delivery, so I made 2 of each food item and kept them in my bank. And then whenever I needed to, I'd go and get the delivery. I'd grab what I needed from the bank, go to wherever it was, come back, and just make a new one.
How long ago did you do those? Were you doing those deliveries?
A number of years ago.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
I mean, if they're going to give me 10 billion bank slots, I'm not going to get rid of anything unless I have to. And
That's a
it's
good
sort
point.
of a fun, casual thing to do. I'll do 1 or 2 on occasion.
But you're just literally the first person I've talked to who's done it recently. So
Yeah,
I don't-
it's fun.
And there's another reason they chose the Blurberry Special. The Blurberry Special is the failed drop for a roll getting the Hazelmire Signet Ring.
Is that the joke?
Yep.
Very funny.
Is that if you get a Blurberry Special when you're fighting something, you just missed out on a multi-billion GP drop.
How much is that still?
It's north of max cash stack.
God, why though? I don't know, man. Dumb. Anyhow, long story short, I believe you have to take the head back to the bar before you actually get the information, so that everybody's in the audience.
That is correct.
Yeah. So, and we're told about Kraken Tooth Island being where Rabbit-Jack is likely located, being kind of his secret hideout kind of area where he's got all kinds of funky experiments going on and some nasty stuff. So not exactly a nice place. And so we then set sail for Mostly Harmless, I believe, toward Kraken Tooth Island, but we don't actually get there because we are encountered along the way. Am I getting this right? I believe this is right.
Yeah, you just missed the stop in the bar first, but that's fine.
Oh, I thought I said that. Oh,
anyways, you're fine. Keep going.
Stop at the bar. But regardless, you then eventually get to the point where you are fighting this large tentacular creature, which, I mean, it's a kraken, essentially. I can't remember the name of it. It was like, started with a Z, and then you...
like Zogroff instead of Agaroth.
Yeah, and you get to repeat... It's basically Agaroth super hard mode, kind of.
Really?
Kind of, except you don't have to hit... You can't actually kill the tentacles. You just get hit by them.
Wait,
I mean,
this was hard?
I thought the Agaroth's actually harder than this one.
Really? Gosh,
Yeah.
man! I did not do well on this fight in comparison to the rest of the fight. So, I mean, maybe that's speaking something about how long it's been since I actually did serious combat in this game. But I was just, I don't know. I mean, I ate several rocktails, but you kill it and then go after that. You fight the Kraken. Oh, and then you find out that it was a diversion the whole time. And that Jack is actually at Mostly Harmless with barrel chests and all that kind of stuff, and they've taken Mostly Harmless, essentially.
Now, at this point, I think we need to ask, and I mean, we do have a question about this later, so we won't go too far into it.
Mm-hmm.
Why do these appear right now in the Pirate Quest? I mean, it, like you said, it could just be boiled down to the diversion, right? Because we haven't really heard of these, I don't think, in the previous Pirate Quests.
You haven't heard of what?
The Kraken deal that we have to fight. That's like the one on Ashdale.
I mean, I guess it's to make for some, because we're assuming that he's made. Well, and possibly, I mean, we've got the Thalassus, we've got Agaroth, we've got kind of a history for there being possibility for large sea creatures.
Xau-Tak.
So, I mean,
Xau-Tak.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
what that means.
It's some
That's a
mythical
thing.
sea creature.
Yeah, and people.
Oh, okay.
That's
I
one of
know
the elements.
I know that's your area of expertise.
I don't think so, but okay.
Oh boy. So yeah, you. I mean, I didn't feel like it was that forced. I feel like it was just they wanted kind of a different boss battle, kind of an intermediary boss battle before the boss battle kind of thing, just to make things a little interesting and maybe lengthen the quest.
Yeah, 100k life points. I don't think there's any specific weaknesses to it. Just DPS it down. That's all I did.
And avoid the terrible, terrible rain that it drops on you.
Yeah, that.
That will kill you. Very good.
I brought Rocktails as well.
Yeah, I mean, unless I used Baron Shark. I just ran up to its face and popped in the nose and just stood there and tanked.
Yeah, I had
really
ranged
depends on your
gear
level.
on, so I just shot everything, and then it died, and then it was over.
Well, the thing is, I had my Nox bow and everything, and so I was standing quite a distance away, but that didn't prevent me from getting hit by the tentacles, and then also by the rain that it would
Yeah,
put
the
on you.
vomit stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's the bombs, and yeah, but you got to remember everything is weak to a scythe, no matter what it is. Everything.
So it
is
wasn't
weak.
it wasn't a particularly complex fight. I mean, we've seen these mechanics before generally, so it wasn't something too crazy, but it was a fight to kind of at least get you ready for what would happen later. And so, do you guys have anything else to say about that portion?
No, not really.
No.
Mm-mm.
And so then we return to Mostly Harmless to find Mostly Harmless essentially overtaken and overwhelmed. And this is the exciting sequence of fighting off. And this, at least for me, was like anxiety inducing, because I do not like these kinds of things where it's like if you are just a little too slow, then you're up a creek without a paddle.
I loved
This
it.
is where shit got real.
You just had to take out the docks first.
Yeah. It just felt, I don't know. It comes down to my preference and how I like to engage with those sorts of things. So
I mean,
it was well done.
It wasn't explained very well how to do it.
There wasn't much of a process.
But I mean, I noticed that everything spread to the thing next to it.
Yeah.
So I just went to one end, which was the docks, because that was like right where I was. And I took out both of those, and then I moved my way outwards, and then if anything popped up like behind, I just went and took it out real quick.
Yeah.
Because if you kill like one thing, it stops spreading to other areas.
Yeah.
So,
And if it's red on the indicator, that means it is
spreading.
Yeah.
Tanis, how was that for
essentially,
you?
It was not fun. Because I'm only like seeing a smaller section of screen at a time, so I couldn't tell which areas were red, like just by a glance.
Yeah.
And so I kind of basically got a pattern down to where I would do a little bit, and I kind of worked it out till I knocked the skulls down to like either 1 or 2. And then make my way around, because if you tried to finish off one, by the time you made it to the other one, it would start up again. So that's how I did it, was just to whittle it down as I went around. And it took time, but eventually I was able to get it just from attrition, essentially.
And this is the part of the quest that we saw on, I believe, the content showcase in November. That was kind of showing that you would need to do this around Mostly Harmless. So this is where that came from, in case anyone caught that who watched that stream way back when. So anyways, there's 2 waves to this. So wave 2?
Oh, yeah. The first wave, you're just basically dealing with 4 fronts. You've got the main gate, you've got the west wall, and then you've got the 2 beaches, southwest and southeast, I believe. And it's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. It kind of is the demo to the real game, which starts once you've beaten that. And then you add 4 more territories. You get the river, you get the crop field, you get the actual beachhead. And is there another one, or is it just 3?
There's a ship up at the far north end of the island.
Yeah, that's the beachhead.
Okay.
Yeah, because we have 4 in the beginning, and then they add 3 more if you got 7 together.
That makes sense. So yeah, you get to that point, and it's the same thing. And I honestly, and that's what Reed was describing, is kind of what to me seemed like the best strategy in the end, is basically to go to one side and just sweep. And so to sweep from the beaches up to the actual beachhead itself, because then you can't actually destroy the ship until you've sufficiently destroyed everybody else. You've killed all of the skeletons and everything. Right.
We should probably point out too that on a couple of those spots, like the cannons, the crop circle, and I think there's another one, but you only had to make sure there weren't any barrel chests and captains.
Yes.
The zombies didn't matter so much, but you had to take out the barrel chest and the captains. And I think the barrel chest only showed up at 4 skulls, or when it was red. They didn't show up till the end.
Yeah, essentially
when everything was very full and about to overflow.
Yeah. So the thing is just it'll tell you in each box what the objective is for each region. And like for the river, for instance, the East River, you have to take down the bridges is one of the actual objectives. And so you just take down the bridges. It's fairly simple and straightforward. But yeah, that's what you have to do. And they'll decrease as you kill them off, and so will the skulls accordingly. So at least in my opinion, this is a well done sequence. It may have not been my favorite kind of thing to do, but it seemed as though it was fairly smooth, although they may not have explained it as much as they could have. It went out without a hitch, in my opinion.
It's fairly intuitive if you just read the top left corner of your screen where it is. So
yeah. Unfortunately, my interface was getting in the way of the very top one because that's where I have my toolbar. And
okay.
So I was getting
I had to remove part of mine to get that working.
Yeah, but anyhow, so yeah, there's that. And once you have that done, fight the pirates. Oh, and then you find that this was a diversion the entire time, and that the real goal was the distillery, and that we should be going to the distillery and making sure that it is safe. And so we then go there, and this is where basically my notes stop. We have to get into the distillery because we learned that they're going to be using it to basically disseminate the serum to take control of people, essentially, and to distribute this widely within the, quote, rum.
And we find that out from, was it Donnie? Donnie?
Yeah, I think...
That's up in that bunkhouse kind of thing. You have to go all the way around the distillery and then get up another set of stairs.
This part was wonky. Yeah. It didn't feel... I don't know. I had no clue where I was going. I was like, okay, I'm here. Where do I go? And so I finally made my way to the guy who's in kind of the bunks, and he told me where to go. And even then, I didn't really get what was up because
This part was annoying because you had to run everywhere.
Yes.
So much.
Yes.
You had to listen to the window to kind of get what the story was going on, and then apparently they put Shane in a barrel chest because he started just kicking hostages in the cave spider.
Just killing them all.
Yeah, just killing them. It's like, Jesus, what's going on here?
It wasn't me.
Uh-huh.
Literally wasn't.
Oh, boy.
Literally wasn't.
Dick Cheney.
Hey, I haven't shot my friends.
Bullshit!
Dick Cheney was the one who got shot, dude.
No, he wasn't.
No, he shot his friend when he was
shot
shot.
his
No, he
friend.
shot his friend in the face.
He shot his
Okay.
friend who was wearing like the neon orange hunter safety gear with a shotgun, and his friend publicly apologized to him.
Yeah.
I was too young. That's great. Anyhow, so yeah, you got to do this whole back and forth, and to me, this was the one part of the quest that kind of got on my nerves because it just seemed like I was wasting time. Like, come on, I know we need to get into the distillery. This is very funny what you're doing with now 66% Luke, but I just want to get this fight on because it seemed like it was just a tease for the fight that was about to happen, but we're not going to let it happen quite yet. We're going to make you wait a little bit more.
Oh,
yeah,
and
this
boy,
was
they are.
annoying.
Yeah.
Not to try and nitpick too much, but it just seemed like it could have been a little bit more refined and whittled down a bit.
And I always say that if you have an entire week of RSBANDB update where we are not saying something bad about the update or at least providing constructive criticism, we're not doing our job to the fullest potential.
Yeah. So there was that, and you had to, and one of the, at least in my opinion, sequences that seemed like it could have been done without maybe was the whole having to go up and use the other seagull to then bomb the dungeon entrance.
That seemed kind
That was the hardest part of the entire quest for me.
Have you never
As
done this
dumb
kind
as
of
that
game?
was. Well, yeah, but the problem was I couldn't see the like controller and the seagull at the same time. So I had to like go out, turn my magnifier off, but then I couldn't see anything quite as good, and I literally just kept going and going, and it probably took a good half hour to just luckily hit it 3 times. Like I was cussing. I was like so close. I was gonna message Shane. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it, dude. I don't know. Like, I really don't know. Like, I was so pissed. I'm like, angry. I'm angry. I'm an angry bird right now. Damn it. This is bullshit.
So I'm gonna bomb everything.
Perfect. Yeah,
I can see how that would be frustrating.
Hope no one in the hall just walked by outside and heard me say that. That'd be a little awkward.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Just say it again a little louder. A little louder. Oh boy. And yeah, you do that, and you get Luke's leg from Captain Donnie down there, and you basically get to put on the barrel chest costume again, and go up in there and jam the majig and all that. And I just lost patience this part, and I put humorous conversation with 66.6% Luke. I mean, it was a little funny.
It was slightly funny, but it was pushing it, and it was just too much.
Yeah, I was losing my patience.
Yeah, it was getting to the point where you just want to get to the climax of the quest and see what the end result was going to be.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys want to talk about the cats here or in the question segment?
I don't know.
Let's talk about them here.
What's with all the cats?
Yeah,
I
what's
only
up
saw
with
2 of
cats?
them.
And they called us like the devil or something, right? Like we were monsters, or I didn't get it.
Yeah, the demon cats.
It was like their soul had been devoured. Like it was this weird, like, existential but grim kitty, and it was, I don't know. I don't get the point. Was there a connection that I just was missing? Or was
There
it just
has
kind of
to
a funny
be, but I
Easter egg?
missed it too.
And then, like, at the end, the Madame Xie person was like, I didn't see any cat.
Yeah. And
What are you talking about?
the dialogue here was, "Don't worry, everyone. Luke will be okay. Just enjoy the cute kittens frolicking for a moment."
Oh, well, there's
yeah,
that.
and it was... Oh, is that what you were talking about?
Oh,
Yeah.
so that's like another meme, right? So that's like
Yeah.
Oh,
cute
I was
cat
talking
videos.
about
Okay.
the, like, spooky ones that were everywhere.
The shadow kitten
Yeah,
No.
thing.
and they all appeared... They're, like, the same as the shit at the end during the boss battle, like the hallucinations.
Did you not see those, Shane?
I didn't see those.
I didn't see those.
Oh. Yeah, no, they were there. There was one in the room with the Crassian. There was one in the when we were on our way to the underwater temple. I can't remember if there were any others. Those are the only 2 I actually spotted.
There's one in the brewery. I think there might have been
Okay.
one in the prison area.
Huh.
Really? Huh.
Maybe.
Yeah, I totally missed that too.
But they basically just said weird things to you, like, man, I wish I would have written that down, or actually taken pictures of that dialogue, because it was just this weird, like, very dark kind of... I mean,
If
it
you
was...
think a scene of playful kittens will spare you from my horror, you're mistaken.
No, that was different. That was... I'm talking about, like, an actual kitten.
Okay, so these... Yeah, I never saw those. Okay, so that might
Yeah,
make
no.
a little bit more sense now.
Yeah, this is getting confusing, because there are two sources of kittens in this quest. More kittens than usual.
Yeah,
so...
I think so. Like, just taking a step back here, like, I think so. Rabbit Jack, like, didn't seem to me to be entirely the. I felt like there was someone else above him.
Yeah, that I
Somewhere,
think that has
like,
to be the
controlling
only
him.
explanation
And I'm
here.
pretty sure that these are hints towards that, because they're going to pull this into the 6th stage, because they left it wide open at the end. Do you want to finish up discussion of the quest?
Yeah,
and
I
then
want to
talk
finish
about the
discussion on the
implication?
quest first. But
Okay.
where did you see these kittens? Was that underwater or?
No, I don't think so. Like, there was one standing in the brewery, like, with Donnie?
What?
Yeah.
Upstairs or downstairs?
Like, right next to Donnie in the barracks.
Yeah, I do. I did remember seeing that one. I found that one.
What?
Yeah. It's weird. I don't get it, but maybe eventually I will. I thought it was just supposed to be kind of a funny addition.
I don't know. Cats are
But-
really good.
Knowing Mod Raven, I don't think it was just funny. I think it
That's
was.
probably true.
I think it's a hint to something, but we can discuss that in a minute.
Yep. All right, let's go over the boss fight then.
Yeah. So you eventually, after the whole distillery thing, make your way to the an underwater temple, and you kind of just run around a bit. I mean, it's cool scenery. It's a neat kind of area that they've made, and then you find him in this temple, and it is an interesting fight. I died once because I had no clue what I was
Same.
doing. Because I thought I could push it. So there are a couple things. One is that he's got several phases, and so you basically knock him down. I think he has 25,000 or something like that life points per phase. 30. Okay. So not a very difficult fight for each phase, but during those phases, you have to loosen the chains around the room, and I did not get that in order to actually finish the fight, because you learn that just fighting him, I'm pretty sure you can just do it ad infinitum, just to keep fighting him, and he'll keep phasing and phasing and phasing until you actually loosen the chains around the room. Is that?
That's what I found as well.
I noticed them.
Yeah, I did not.
Because I moused over them and I saw it and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And it's important to note that the chains are in the alcove, so if you focus on the center of the room where the camera starts in the fight, you're not going to see the loosen option for the chain.
Yeah.
So be ready for that.
And the thing is that at least it seemed to me that each phase, so you've got this sanity meter essentially, and it's not really a meter as much as it is how it filters what you're looking at, and you see tons of like basically illusions.
One of which was the Stone of Jazz.
Yeah, there was the Stone of Jazz. I'm pretty sure Sliske was there. I saw some pretty weird stuff.
Whoa,
because that's how I died.
You saw Sliske?
I thought so. I could swear it was Sliske. Again, I was a little frustrated because I was about to die, and then I died. But pretty dang sure Sliske was there right before the end.
That's very interesting. If that was the case, maybe you were hallucinating.
Don't think that. Maybe I was actually hallucinating. Like, that could very well be.
Yeah, because this is a fifth age quest after all, but we'll get to that in just a bit.
Yeah, but you have to notice the chains fairly quickly, because it seems like with each phase the insanity increases even more quickly. So you have to keep drinking the brew that is around you in order to remain afloat, as it were, mentally and psychologically. So you end up knocking him down enough, and you loosen the chains, and then that is it, quote unquote. What's up?
You get shoved
And
in
then
a
you do
hole
it
under a
again.
rock.
You gotta do it several times. But like I had a very easy time with this. And I'm normally bad at combat. So
Well, hey, I just didn't.
I
pick
mean,
up
I
on it.
actually felt it was a little too easy, which
Really?
is not something that I normally say about combat in this game.
It's not Sasuke's endgame, is it?
Well, the fight wasn't. It's not the
Shame.
fight that was hard. I mean, it was everything around it.
Yeah.
The insanity effects.
Well, it's just like, I mean, the spinning camera gave me a little bit of trouble in
Yep.
listening, and figuring out where the chains were. But otherwise, like the fight was fine. That wasn't like I didn't get hurt too much or anything, and all that. It's just
You just
It
got
was
to avoid the hand that comes down, because that can
Yeah.
basically
Yeah.
kill you in one shot. And oh boy, yeah, that was dizzying when you look at the rum like that. So,
You've got to use freedom and anticipate relatively frequently as well, just to prevent. He's got kind of a get over here kind of thing.
yeah, he's got like
just
it's almost like a
use
68.
melee.
Yeah.
yep. And that's one thing Jagex has been really good for in recent quests, unless the lore physically demands it, is to make all the quest creatures and the quest bosses have no weakness. So you're not penalized for using your favorite combat style.
Yeah, it's good.
So after the boss fight, that's pretty much quest complete, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yep.
essentially.
You have to go back to the basement, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then
that
you
is
get
it.
all these awesome rewards, like a Grandmaster level rewards.
Hey, we got a cool book, okay? Cool book. Upgraded book. I like the book. More teleports. Now I just need a book for my books for all my teleport books.
Yeah, a
I have
key
so many
ring.
teleport books. A key ring for my
Ring, but
books.
for books.
Yeah.
A book ring.
The
Perfect.
rewards
We
in
could call it
question.
a bookshelf.
We have that.
Portable.
Maybe
it's
we
in the
could put it
page.
in our player-owned house.
Oh.
If they ever do the fabled construction update,
Oh, I knew that would come up with you on the show.
Yeah, you know what's next for me to mention about the player-owned houses, right? Shane?
Yeah, and that's why we're going to talk about the rewards of the quest right now, which were 2 quest points, 50k agility, construction, fire making, and thieving XP, and 5 Zoggoth black pearls, which give you bonus XP and a skill of your choosing. And now you guys want to hear a funny story?
Hmm.
Sure.
When I was doing the quest, I accidentally thieved a magpie impling, and I didn't know this until I was reviewing the video footage of the quest. So at the end of the quest, I thought, hey, I also got two sinister keys as this is a reward. So I thought that was part of the reward for the quest as well. But no, I just thieved an impling along the way.
You dingleberry.
I mean, they're so simple to click. You just click it and, oh, it's in your inventory, and there you go. But I would also like to draw attention to one more thing on this quest, and specifically the ending about this. And, this is something we don't normally talk about much here on Update, and I think something that people don't consider when they're doing quests all that often is that you really should do these modern quests in RuneScape with the music enabled, because you have the ability to unlock the newest music track after this quest is over. So I would just recommend that everyone who is doing this quest now look at this and listen to the music at the end of the quest, because it's a pretty good song.
Yeah, I actually played with the sound on this time. Can I add just a couple more things, Shane?
Please.
Yeah.
Quickly. On the reward side, there are 2 cosmetic items, so you can get Captain Jack's hat and his sword, I think. I'm wearing his hat now. I don't know why. Just because, damn it, I want something out of this quest other than a 50k thieving. So I'm going to wear the hat. And then I know you guys are questers and stuff. And so that's great. I know you would never use a guide, but for people that do, like myself, who I like the quest. I like reading it. I don't want spoilers, but at the same time, I don't want to sit there for 6 hours trying to figure this stuff out. So it's not my game style. So I used a guide by Little Dog. If you guys, if anyone actually needs one, check that one out.
Yeah, that's fair. Another thing that people were saying with the rewards is that the big book of piracy that you get for teleporting around is limited in terms of the number of charges that it holds, in much the same way it's like the Barrows Medallion, so you can only teleport for free within the pirate area. So you need to get to one of the pirate areas on your own before doing that, or else it will consume a charge. The easiest way of doing that is to go to the Ectofiel and then go to one of the boats like Mosla Harmless. Or if you are in the possession of a Dungeoneering Cape, use the Dungeoneering Cape to teleport to the resource dungeon on that Divination Colony Island.
What are the teleports on it? I just threw in the bank. I'm like, probably gonna need this. But,
I know they go
know.
to the Brain Death Island.
Brain Death, Mosla Harmless.
Mosla Harmless.
Okay. So next time we play Trouble Brewing, guys, we have a teleport?
Good for treasure trails,
But
okay?
there's already
Okay,
the
okay.
rum. That's how I get to Mosla Harmless. I just drink the rum and I collapse and wake up right there.
That's a thing still?
Yeah?
Whoops.
Reed is
I
old
didn't know
school
that
when it
either.
comes to getting around the game.
Man.
Right. Only because they won't use a lodestone.
The four options that are on the Big Book of Piracy, we mentioned Mosla Harmless and Dragon Tooth Island, but also Brain Death Island and Harmony Island.
The hell
As
is
well.
Harmony Island?
Harmony Island is from the one of the quests.
Yeah,
Zombie Pirate
you have
quest.
to get you have to get the zombie monks. You save them from their like
The Great
the-
Brain Robbery.
granary. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. There's no reason to go there other than that, even though there are two very beautiful looking farming patches on that island that are unused.
I mean, they don't have
Taunting
to
you.
be unused.
What might have
Shane.
been.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
it would be nice to go there one day and use those, but
You can. What's stopping you, Shane?
they're special for the
usable?
quest.
oh,
You can still use them.
I don't think you can.
Hmm.
We'll have to check that. But
Hmm.
so that's pretty much the quest in a nutshell. Now we do have questions that did come up with this, and
The island contains a farming allotment patch and a mill. Looks like it works, Shane.
I thought it was quest only.
interesting.
Well, looks like you thought wrong.
I'm gonna have to test this because this would greatly improve yields of watermelons.
You farm watermelon?
Yes,
Really?
it's good
There you
XP.
Yeah.
It's good XP. It's the best allotment XP.
Yeah, but I thought
Nerd.
it was like a level 50 or something.
It's one of the highest allotment ones there is next to Snapegrass,
Yeah.
but Snapegrass isn't good XP.
Huh.
Nerd.
Okay. There you go.
So, comparing this to all the other previous pirate quests, and there's no way for us to truly answer this question because we all played these at what at this point is at least half a decade ago for most of us. How does this stand
Been a
up to
while.
the other ones that are in the line here?
I think
That
it
was
was as
pretty good.
good. I mean, it was
think it was-
probably the funniest I've ever played. Like, I thought it was pretty funny.
I appreciated the internet culture references. I like that.
It seemed to be, true to form, and I wasn't disappointed by it in any way. I mean, it got a little bit tedious in my opinion at some parts, but that's not atypical for more humorous quests that drag on as this one did.
Hmm.
And overall, I mean, there were no plot holes, I don't think.
Just one, the pirates fell down to Mosla Harmless and Wilson, but otherwise,
I think that can fall under willing suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
there we go.
Not like
Yeah.
a gaping plot hole, like this doesn't make sense. Maybe
Yeah,
they
no.
washed up on the shore somewhere else. Like it wasn't anything that I was like, what is this? How did this happen?
Oh, that's true because they did say something swam under it. Brushed us
Yeah,
as we were-
like
okay.
they
Yeah.
just landed somewhere else. I was like, okay, whatever.
Now, what about the cats, the demon cats?
I think that's a hint for whoever was giving Rabbit Jack his power.
Bob?
I think.
So is this our
Excuse me?
Xau-Tak?
Bob?
Is that...
Or Xau-Tak?
Bob?
Yeah.
Who the is Bob?
Bob the cat.
Bob the
No.
cat?
Wait, I thought
This is a kitten.
But, I mean, all cats should surely be descended from something, right? And have some kind of central linkage
I
of
thought-
themselves.
was Bob
Bob
not
gets around.
controlled by Amistad or whatever her name was? I thought there was some kind of
Bob
connection
was
there.
Am I-
a warrior, dude.
Yeah.
No, Bob the cat has nothing to do with it. It's
Yeah.
who were you saying?
Xau-Tak.
Xau-Tak?
That's another
I
thing.
don't know who that person is or that
Yeah,
thing is. This
are you
is-
making stuff up again?
It's
Oh,
a-
I'm making stuff up.
No, it's a mythical sea creature, apparently on the godhood tiers, located in the Eastern Sea.
Well,
It
that's
hasn't
probably
been seen
it
since
then.
the Second Age.
That's probably it then.
And
It
everyone's
is
Because the
Xau-Tak
hallucinations at the end during the quest were in the same style as these ones.
favorite Fremenic quest,
Ugh,
the V quest,
The-
Excuse me.
which I'm forgetting its name of right now.
Heroes Welcome.
Heroes
Heroes
Welcome
Welcome.
quest. V ultimately described Xau-Tak, and I'm reading from the RS Wiki here, as an evil god that devastates worlds and creates corpse oceans.
It's definitely that kitten.
Corpse
Oh, okay.
oceans.
Well, there you go then.
The kitten.
Mystery solved.
Yep.
You heard it here
It is
first.
Xau-Tak, everybody.
All hell's Xau-Tak.
Interesting.
Creatures like the cave horrors and jungle horrors and the unspeakable horrors and how all descend from Xau-Tak as well.
Jeez, Reed.
The Nemi Forced, Shane.
Yes, Nemi Forced.
Shane. When will you learn?
I just can't say things right, can I?
No, you really can't. And you can't type either.
All right. So I want to give a real answer to the answer on the demon cats. I guess we're pointing this at Xau-Tak then.
If that's whatever the thing is, then that sounds about right to me.
Yeah, why not?
I didn't realize it was already a thing, so.
All right. And I mean, like they're just there. And as you guys saw, I completely missed these when we were talking about them. So,
Classic Shane.
Tanis, you didn't see the demon cats, did you?
Shane, I didn't see shit.
Right. I got to remember every time I ask you if you saw something.
But no, I didn't see the cats.
Okay.
You're doing great, Shane.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh. Well, I guess that is one mystery, and I'm going to have to review the video footage even further on this. So, and that leads nicely into the next question here about this. They built this as the end of the Fifth Age pirate quest, and I think we can all agree that that's true, right? With Rabbit Jack finally appearing and being orchestrating everything. But
Yeah.
more questions come up than were answered, I believe.
Yeah,
See,
it's not
I don't-
over. Because he's not dead.
I think it's over as in this part, like the whole harmless pirates are done. If there is this
They'll teach
sea
and
creature
fan.
god thing, it's going to be in the Eastern Lands. There'll be an Eastern Lands quest. Look, that woman that was a real wonderful, pleasant, wonderful pirate, she came from the
Yeah.
Eastern Lands. So
And
there is that
appeared out of
connection there.
nowhere.
And appeared out of nowhere. So, I mean,
Who are you talking about?
Madam
that
Shen.
Madam,
Oh, yeah.
Madam.
It's
Oh,
it's
yeah.
pretty apparent to me that now knowing about Xau-Tak or whatever his name
Xau-Tak.
is. Xau-Tak.
He's a kaiju.
Excuse me?
No.
What'd you call me?
Never mind.
What?
So, nothing. Let's keep going.
I'm confused.
All right, let's not be confused. So it's not the end, and I think it sets it up nicely for a tie into the 6H then with that.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Because with Xau-Tak now, who is a powerful god apparently, it just ties in because Rabbitjack pretty clearly not dead because instead of us spearing him, making him dead, he just falls and we don't see him die, and that's like killing someone off but not actually killing them 101.
Off-screen death.
Yeah, it was not a convincing death. And I mean, even in the quest, Madame Xia was like, he's not dead.
Yeah,
You know that,
back.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So, they wouldn't have introduced a new character, Madame Xia, and, given her a major role, I think, if there weren't plans for more.
Yeah. Well,
That does tie
likely,
it in nicely to the Eastern lands.
if we ever get around to getting the skull or whatever, that might tie in with Madame Xia, and we might end up doing the whole Xau-Tak thing with her.
Yeah, you guys are actually right. She does come from the Arc area. So
I mean, that's what she said
yeah,
50 times.
Yeah, because she's telling us how big her fleet was.
Yeah, it's like, calm down, lady.
Yeah.
I don't care how big your fleet is.
we can build a bigger one. All right. So as with tradition here, let's just give this a rating out of 5, and we'll move on to the patch notes for the week.
I mean, it's what we were promised, so they delivered.
All right.
And
so what's that?
it tied in nicely to everything, and it leaves it open for expansion into the 6th stage. So I might just give it a 5, I think.
All right. Colton?
Can we do half points? Is that
Yes,
allowed?
please go for it.
4.5.
All right.
The only drawback is that it just got a little bit drawn out, in my opinion. It seemed like the conclusion got stretched more than it really needed to, and it needed to be a little more concise at the end. But that's nitpicking, and that's why I'm taking a half point off.
Yeah, I mean, going into it, I knew it was a mod raid quest, so I was expecting that.
Yeah.
I was expecting some foolishness and all of that, because that's the way he be. So
Yeah.
All right. Tennis?
I have to give it a 4.5 as well. Only because you couldn't move the damn seagull flying controls. If I could have moved that up towards the center of my screen, I would have been okay, but you couldn't. So I've got to knock half a point off for that. Was just a pain, and it took way too long. It shouldn't have.
All right, fair enough. And I'm going to go with a 4.5 as well, because I can very rarely give 5 out of 5s for this. So
Oh, wait, no, you don't like anything, shit.
I like lots of things, but that's not the topic of this week's episode of RSBANDB Update. If anyone has questions about things I might like, RuneScape or otherwise, just send them in as a question for next week's episode. We'll have more information on how to do that in just a couple of moments. So, patch notes this week. A very, very thin edition of the patch notes. Updated the skybox used in Beneath Cursed Tides. Receiving a sealed clue scroll from opening a lower tier casket now bypasses the 25 soft cap. Players can
What does
now...
that mean?
You can have up to 25 clues stored now.
Yeah. So what does it mean? It bypasses it?
Yeah, like if you
Yeah.
get one from a casket, you can have 26.
Instead of having that reward
Oh, I
taken away
see.
from you.
I see.
Players can now earn charges on their Globetrotter outfit pieces, regardless of having the items equipped, banked, or needing to be reclaimed from Zyda. And, I mean, that's good, because if you have the outfit and you're not using it for a clue, you shouldn't be penalized for it. That's a happy thing. And players can no longer use an item on another player in the wilderness in order to prevent a form of luring. Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. I kind of scratched my head on that one, but hey, I mean, it is what it is. So,
Insightful.
all right. So, as I said, patch notes are really tiny this week, so we're going to talk about the mobile showcase right now. This is their what's turning out to be, I guess, quarterly update on mobile. Because I think the last we heard about this was in November or December, very early in December, maybe late November, depending when it was. And at that point, we saw that it was working and it was running really well on phones from both the Samsung and Apple family. But here we have a bit more of an update on how the graphics and whatnot look of RS Mobile and the changes they have made since then. And there was one very conspicuous thing that they didn't mention for good reason during this live stream, and that was an actual release date. And I think that was a good thing for them to do, but I'll explain why in just a moment. So some of the things that have been talked about on the mobile showcase thus far this week were the fact that they have run numerous technical betas, and all of these betas have come back showing that modern smartphones are getting a good amount of performance on RuneScape. And it's largely been on Android so far, and they just got permission from Apple to do the first round of testing on iOS by having it inserted into the iOS App Store's Test Flight program, which is their beta test suite.
So how does that work, Shane? Is this a public beta? Like people are...
No, Test Flight is 100% private. Jagex chooses up to 100 people who they want to test it with at a time.
Can you not deploy apps using the DevTools to iOS devices?
You can, but you need to provision each of those devices individually based on the unique identifier of that device.
Interesting. So this just allows them to gather the Apple accounts of whoever and just let them do it on their own.
Yeah, let them run the test.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And, Test Flight is limited, I think, to 100 users. It might have been increased since it came out. But
this way they don't have to, do the whole mobile device management for all of the employees who have that.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah, that's right. Now, one thing they said with this is that the interfaces for mobile right now are horrendous, and they have not nailed down an exact interface of how the game is going to look or changes they want to make going forward. So that's what they're working on right now. They're aiming on creating a good user experience with the mobile interface, which I think we can all attest to with the RuneScape 3 interface, is that it's pretty hard to use on its own, right?
Yes. It's incredibly difficult to use, to the point where I've given up trying to figure out how to actually open a window. I'll go into the keybinds place and find it and set a keybind just to open it, and then use that instead of trying to go through the labyrinth of menus.
Yeah, and I don't think it's no secret that with the RuneScape 3 interface, unless you know exactly what you're doing with it, or you know it like the back of your own hand, you're gonna have a hard time trying to figure that kind of stuff out. So
yeah, they
really want to simplify it down for mobile, and they demoed a number of potential changes that could be made with that, but more on that in just a moment. In the demo that Mod Shawnee was doing on this live stream, he killed Telos, which I think is still regarded as the hardest boss in game. Yes?
Hell if I know.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're asking.
I mean, it was on the. I mean, it was no enrage or anything like that.
Okay.
And it crashed halfway through.
He lost the environment aspects as well. So that's precisely what we're looking at for mobile. Is that stuff like that can happen with this, and that caused a great amount of grief for Mod Shawnee with this. And they said the way they're doing the mobile interface is going to be toggled when your character logs in, much the same way if you have the legacy UI enabled, the old style pre-EOC UI set up. If you have that set up, it'll be a similar toggle for RuneScape mobile when it sees that, this is running on a smartphone. Now, the way they're thinking of doing the UI right now is you're going to have one action bar on the left and the right combined. So the idea with this is you'll hold your mobile device horizontally, and you'll be able to access 7 action bar buttons with your left and your right thumb each. And then down below that, you're going to have another action bar with 14 items on that, and that'll be your revolution bar. That'll be automatically triggered once you are in combat. I realize this is hard to describe and hard to imagine how this will be. So based on what I said, how does that sound to you guys? Basically, one action bar split between your left thumb and your right thumb, and then another one down below on the bottom of the screen. That'll be the revolution bar.
Are they expecting everyone who wants to do this to have a phablet? Because
how's your thumb gonna hit one little button?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I have a hard time visualizing this, with it also having enough room to actually see the screen, right?
Yeah, and the test that was done on stream was with an iPhone 6s, so it wasn't the plus size one. So it looked
How
okay.
big is that relative to the one I've got, Shin, the Samsung Galaxy S8?
I don't know how big the S8 is, but I can say that the 6S is 5 inches.
All right, I think mine's a little bigger. I'm not sure though.
That's what they all say.
Or no, sorry, the 6S is 4.7 inches. Sorry. But I mean, it looked okay.
Go look.
But at the same time, I think we're not going to know how this behaves until we get an actual sense of this, because, I mean, the biggest issue is going to be touching things, and Jagex outright admits this, that they have made buttons, including the side ribbon, bigger. It's default 32 by 32 on the desktop client, and they brought it up to 44 by 44 on mobile. So that's the kind of scaling up we're looking at, but they still look pretty dang tiny. So I don't know. I don't know how this is going to go down. Beyond that, other information.
5.8.
Okay, so yours is big then. They talked about optimizations. No optimizations have been put in yet for battery life or graphics frame rate. So that comes after they sort out the user interface. So based on this, you can kind of see where I'm going with this. If they're still sorting out the UI, but they haven't done optimizations yet as to what we're looking at for a potential release time.
I mean, if I'm playing an intensive game like this on my phone, I'm not expecting the battery life to be spectacular.
Yeah. Well, they know there's still stuff they can improve it with.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic did a mobile release a year or two ago, or a few years ago, and it worked out really well. Like, I have that on my phone, and it's great. But there's not any sort of action bar or anything on the side. And
Yeah.
I'm really having a difficult time imagining how they're going to do that.
Yeah. And for anyone who wants to imagine how it's going to work, you can go to the full show notes at update.rsbnb.com, and you'll find a link to the stream from this week, and you can kind of just play it without sound in the background, and you'll see what the mobile UI currently looks like. So,
Nice plug, Shin.
Thank you. Right now they're going through lots of interfaces. They've gone through upwards of 100 interfaces, and they're bringing them all to the current standard. So this is things like old quests and whatnot. The clue scroll update was one of those recently. The ribbon bar update. Pretty much every interface you can see in game, they want to go through and make sure that it'll work. Now, when it comes to data use, it's going to be pretty much downloading the entire RuneScape client that we have on the desktop. So that's around 5.2 gigs right now, and you're going to need to store that on your device. So they recommend you do it on Wi-Fi, of course. And they want to bring it down even further. And they're forecasting the actual app that you'll download will be less than a megabyte in size.
That's pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah, so it's all going to be done in the cache and post-download, which I mean is a very Jagex way of doing it. Audio is going to be live streamed to your device so that anytime you download a new song, it's just going to come in over the air. So that's something you'll need a data connection for. Keyboard integration.
Why would they not just store this on the phone, though? This seems like a poor decision to me.
Well, there's over 1,000 songs.
Okay, or at least have, like, a cache or something.
Well, I mean, they will be cached after you pull them in. So it's not going to be part of the initial download. So if you pull it in, it'll be cached.
Okay, I understand.
But it's not going to pull it in until you absolutely need it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's going to cache everything that's essential, and then if you find some stuff, then it'll
bring it down. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, that is good.
For what they're thinking for a right click is if you press and hold on the screen, you will get a right click operation, and just tapping on the screen will be left click. And then dragging around with your finger will move the camera. So that's what they're looking at for controls going forward.
I think that's pretty much what Knights of the Old Republic did.
Yeah, and you know what they said they did? They said they went to the App Store and they looked at some of the most popular MMOs there and looked at what they're doing for interface and are trying to emulate that to try and create a
So they're
standard.
emulating this because this is the okay, got it.
Yeah, so if it's a popular MMO and if it's on the App Store, chances are Jagex has looked at it.
Because that's what I consider the gold standard of mobile games.
Oh,
So,
good.
you know.
Well, I'm pleased with that then.
Yeah, and I know how much you love Star Wars, so.
I am pleased about it from a technical perspective.
Softballed that one to me, Shane.
Maybe it was intentional. You never know.
Mm,
Now, here's something that people might find interesting. The mobile apps are not going to be native to both iOS and Android. They're effectively taking the NXT client and running it on the phone. So they're going to be using their own APIs. They're not going to be customizing for each platform. So we could potentially see a drift in performance there compared to 100% native apps. So I don't know how that's going to pan out, but I mean, it's Jagex, and they tend to do their own thing. And sometimes it's worked really well, and sometimes it's been really iffy. So we'll just have to wait and see on this one, how this goes. Now, also with this stream, they highlighted a bunch of other changes that are coming to the mobile interface, and they showed them off on a big screen. So it's kind of hard to get a interpretation of how it's going to look. But effectively what they're going to do is they're going to have a combat mode and a non-combat mode. So if you disable the combat mode in RuneScape Mobile, the thumb toggles down below for the action bars and the revolution action bar will disappear, as well as the information on your life points and prayer points and whatnot going forward. And
yeah, I don't know if I would feel comfortable doing any sort of combat, at least anything that's risky on my phone. Because I have a hard time with that on the computer sometimes. There ain't no way in hell I'm going to do well on the phone.
They said they don't expect it to be used for high-profile bossing encounters unless someone practically gets dared to do it.
Okay.
So, like, it's not going to be something that people are going to do all the time. It's just going to be there as a way of maybe doing, say, a Slayer task, for example.
All right, so something that's easy mode.
It'll be a new measuring or new ruler for elites. Yeah, well, I did tell us at 300% enraged on my phone, man. What you got?
And that's precisely what you're going to see. And you know, they knew this was going to happen because at RuneFest, that's what some of the people did first off when they got to try mobile.
Crazy.
Yeah. Razer has given them 2 loaner devices, the new Razer phones, to test on, so that they will work on what is seen as, I guess, by many as a top-end gaming phone.
Gaming phone.
Yeah, that's what Razer marketed it as, a phone for gamers.
A gaming phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm getting old.
No shit. I thought a phone was supposed to be like you could talk to people on it and stuff.
You guys have no idea when it came out how much I resisted text messaging.
Oh no, I have a pretty good idea of how I would have done that, Dane, after dealing with you for years. No, I have to log into my account to play this game? No. This guy complained for 45 minutes last night when we were trying to get Burnout Paradise set up because he couldn't log in.
And the problem was that I had a special character in my password.
But he hated the game already because he doesn't like the song Paradise City by Guns N' Roses.
What? Blasphemy. Get him, Colton.
Yeah, that's what everyone said. Like, he literally opened the game and went, "Oh, I forgot about this song."
I don't think I said it quite like that.
Well, you were clearly upset, so...
All right, so next step for RS Mobile are to do a play test with the iOS crowd. So everyone who has iPhones, including myself, register your interest in this. They need to work out a tutorial for mobile, which we kind of talked about last week, that they might be bringing back Tutorial Island for that sake, because it's nice and simple.
And everyone who played it years ago, which is probably their target market, will remember that fondly.
Exactly. And if anyone wants to hear about our talk on Tutorial Island or see what it looks like, just go back to last week's episode of RSBANDBupdate. You
Nice
can find
plug,
that
Shane.
on YouTube at youtube.com/RSBANDB.
Stella, what are you chewing on? Stop chewing on my chair.
And here we see Reed's dog make its introduction to the podcast. They also want to work on the lobby and work on future interface changes, as well as interface scaling and many optimizations for the client in terms of battery life and whatnot. So basically, the sense I got from this is that we're not going to see this until at least the third quarter, perhaps the fourth quarter of this year.
You are really optimistic, aren't you?
I said at least.
My prediction is mid-April next year.
Okay. You guys have any predictions on this?
I would have said January.
Yeah.
Wait, are we talking like first initial release or in actual working form?
First actual release and in working form.
Okay. Working. That's what mine is. They might release something sooner, but...
I'm expecting we'll see a mass beta around September or August.
I mean, they always do one release, and then if it's a huge release like this, then there's like Summoning 2 or...
Invention 2.
Batch 2. And, okay, that's a thing. Like that.
Yeah.
Because there's the release, and then there's the changes based upon the community.
Precisely. And that's why I think summer is a good marker for the beta. At least a beta with maybe the interfaces changes done. But actual optimizations and whatnot, I think we're looking into third quarter or fourth quarter of this year. And I hate to say this now, but this effectively means that we're not getting the bank rework this year.
Did they ever give a potential release date?
For this? No.
Next summer, beginning of next summer, I'm changing it to that, because then they're going to get all the children who are out of school.
Okay, that might be a good one. I also think Christmas time would be a good one as well, for all the people going home to their families who don't take a computer with them. But as I said, this influences the bank rework heavily because we knew this was coming, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think we forget that their target audience that Reed was just talking about, they have children now.
Mobile, bank rework coming next year. I think we can all say the bank rework will be here next year for sure based on this, because we have heard time and time again that the bank rework is contingent on mobile being released and finished.
Yep.
So, I mean, they didn't say that on the stream. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's what I'm seeing with this.
It's fine. we don't mind waiting around here as long as they do it right.
Let's get it right the first time. I think we all learned that in 2017, and that's the lesson of 2017 in general, I think, right?
Yep.
Shattered
Exactly.
Worlds, Achievement System, Invention, Menaphos. I could go on and on.
And things are going well in 2018. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to get worked up about this one. I don't really care if we get the bank rework right now or not. I'm pretty satisfied where we're at. We've talked about that plenty of times, and mobile's coming. I mean, it's coming. So I wouldn't mind waiting until it can be on a tablet anyway, because I don't think I'm going to want to play on a phone, but a tablet, yeah, I could do some skilling on a tablet maybe.
Yeah, in theory, the way it works with iOS, any app that works on the phone should just scale up to tablet resolution.
But how often does that work?
It used to happen a lot when the iPad first came out.
Yeah, but it looked horrible.
It did.
I was just wondering, because they mentioned that on the
Is it a flaw
stream.
No, it's a flaw in the app developers, not Apple.
Oh, okay. That's how you're justifying it.
Indeed. Anyways, there's a brief little rundown on where we're at with mobile, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I needed to mention that about the bank rework, and that we're going to be potentially holding that back a bit more until mobile is released. So my official prediction for this, don't take any stock in what I'm about to say, is that we will see the beta for RS Mobile later this summer, and a potential release in December or January next year. That's my guess.
Okay, well, we're right on track then.
All right, so moving on to the questions right now. So we got a number of questions this week, some of them related to the quest, some of them not. So this is from Wiley. Hello, guys. Wiley's back. And with the news about Tier 92 armor that you guys discussed last week and the use of Torva armor along with it, along with some vaguely similar portable aspects from the mining and smithing rework beta, do you think that we might be looking at not only a mining and smithing rework beta, but also a surprise crafting, rune crafting, wood cutting, and fletching rework, one that covers all of these styles in somewhat copy and pasted formats? That's part one.
No.
Yeah, I have to say no right off the bat. We're not going to see that in the first run here because there's lots of stuff still left to do with mining and smithing, all those pages of notes that need to be dealt with, and we need to ensure that when Jagex puts this out, it's going to be received properly. And you also have to look at rune crafting and say rune crafting on its own probably doesn't need a rework, but crafting could have some stuff added to it, but not to the same level as smithing, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, and I get that, but here's my thing. If the next rework comes and it is not construction, riot.
Preaching to the choir here.
Would agree there.
Hey, this is my opportunity. Shane, speaking of reworks and the construction update, you know what I'm still mad about?
That aquarium.
Yeah, aquarium. It should have been a greenhouse.
I think we're all agreed on the sense of reworks, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to see high-level armor come from rune crafting and crafting, right?
Well, and I think that might be coming. I mean, I think that it's coming, but it better not be next. That's my thing.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as broken as mining and smithing was. Smithing and mining were definitely in need, so I don't think they're nearly as desperate for rework as possibly,
All right. Thank you for the question, Wiley. But, just to summarize, I think that we all want to see mining and smithing come out just fine, and then we definitely want to focus on the construction rework after that if it was up to us. I think that's our general consensus because the other skills just aren't nearly as bad.
Agreed.
Good. Glad you didn't say that heavy-handed.
Yeah.
Anyway, Shane.
Anyways, our next question comes from Borosoro, And he says, so as you have probably noticed, the Crassians seem to play a prominent role in Pieces of Hate. This is unusual because the Crassians have only ever played a prominent role before in A Shadow over Ashdale, which before now was an entirely standalone quest. My question is, what connections can we draw from this? Zoggoth is obviously a beefed-up version of Agaroth, but what is the precise relation between them? Are they long-lost cousins? Are they actually the same monster? And Agaroth became Zoggoth after it was fed rum by Rabid Jack. That's an interesting theory.
That's kind of cool. Yeah,
I think it's the same thing that we were talking about earlier, Xau-Tak or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Xau-Tak.
I refuse to call it that.
Boy.
Like, I think they're all linked.
Yeah.
That was pretty evident to me.
Yeah, and there was a question on the big survey this year about if we'd like to see the next Eastern Lands area come out. Which I think is the shield
and that's been
the
pulled.
arc.
Or the skull.
Or the skull, right. I don't think it was up high on the list, but nonetheless, I mean, I think that is the next jumping off point for the Pirate Quest is to take it out into the Eastern Lands in the sixth age.
I don't know if, do you think the Eastern Lands quest is necessarily going to be a pirate quest?
Well, I mean, if they did pirates with it, it would be a lot better than what they did for the mini quest in the Ark.
Well, no, I know that. It's just that I don't know if we're going to see pirates anymore. Not the same. It might be different pirates.
Yeah, I mean, it would be
Madame Shea or whatever.
These warped ones. And I mean, it's not going to be Mosla harmless pirates, but hey. So, do you guys think that Zoggoth is the same version as Agaroth from A Shadow over Ashdale? Or is it different?
I mean,
maybe it's a whole race of monsters.
Yeah. There seems to be there's a hinted connection here with likely Xau-Tak being at the top of this chain of command. There is that the Crassians are related because the Crassians are also related to these large kraken-like creatures, and thus they are kind of the minions of Xau-Tak. Whether that's the kitten or not, we don't know.
Yeah, and you know that also comes back to the kittens and whatnot in this quest. So
lots of kittens.
Yeah, lots of unanswered questions with that too. And we wanted to provide more of an answer on that, but we just don't have that, I don't think, at this point. And I think the only logical thing is to point over there at the Crassians and say that's next. That's to do with the kittens. That's what Zoggoth did, and now we're going to see something with Agaroth as well, maybe come into this as well. So it's definitely not the rum theory. What would you guys say is the main connection with this then? Just that they're the same creature drawn down from Xau-Tak then?
That's what I'm going with.
All right. Sounds good to me then. And, this would be a perfect question for someone to ask who is going to RuneFest this year and ask at the lore session that comes up. I'm looking at you, various people in Clan Quest. And our final question comes from Wolfie, which I think Earth wanted to read.
If the podcast crew today were a pirate crew, who would walk the plank first? I'd like each of you to name your shark bait. I think the answer here is quite obviously Shane.
Rip.
Yeah, I'll do that. I mean, I would happily do that. That is the job of the captain of the podcast, and the captain of the show is to go down with the ship.
Don't be a martyr. Don't be a martyr, Shane.
And if that means walking the plank, I'll do it.
Oh, how nice of you. You're such a
we'll be nice. We'll put a dinghy under the plank.
Sacrificial
you're
lamb
such
here.
good cannon fodder, Shane.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm glad
it really is.
I'm glad you guys all agree to that, and because I'm not gonna subject any of the people here who do the podcast with that, I'll say I will happily walk the plank here, and I'll find a way to walk it and not fall off of it.
But that's the whole point, Shane.
Yeah, well, I'm sure I'll find a way.
Oh, ever the politician with your answers, Shane.
There's always a way, and things are only possible until they're not.
Dude, that's deep.
You're welcome. Anyways, I'm glad you guys all agree with that. Thank you, Wolfie, for that lighthearted question to end the day here in the question segment. If you guys want to submit questions for next week's episode that we don't know what it's going to be about yet, or you just have questions about RuneScape or lore in general, you can send those to us. You can send them to us in a myriad of ways. You can email them to questions@rsbnb.com. You can leave them at update.rsbnb.com/ask, or you can leave us a DM on Twitter @RSBNB. And finally, we also do have a phone number where you can call in and leave a voicemail or leave a text message, and that is 571-57BNB or 571-572-2632. And that is, of course, an American number. So if you are not in the United States, you might want to check your fees before you call into that. But it's a nice way for those in the U.S. to contact us. So, all right. You guys ready for some tech news?
Boo! All right.
All right. So this week, Mark Zuckerberg admits that Facebook's made a mistake in the handling of the Cambridge Analytica scandal. He didn't apologize.
Mistake. They knew exactly what they were doing.
Precisely. So in case you guys haven't been watching the news this week, this Cambridge Analytica scandal resulted in the hashtag delete Facebook, encouraging people to delete their Facebook accounts so that you wouldn't become the unwilling subject of a research study or a voter engagement group as has happened in the past. The news stories in this week focused on the 2016 U.S. election, but this has been common going back to when? I think 2008 at least?
I'm not sure if it was there in 2008, because that's when Facebook just really started gaining steam with the general public, because they only opened to non-university students in 2006?
Yeah, I think it was 6, I think.
So it hadn't really gained enough steam by then. I think it would have been around 2010 when they started that, but I know that I'm pretty sure that the Obama campaign used it extensively, at least in 2012, right?
Yeah.
And then everything ever since then on every level has at least used it. Yeah. Have they used it in Canada at all?
Definitely. And that has actually spurred our national privacy board to get in line and seek an investigation of Facebook over this, believe it or not. We are third in line behind the US and the UK now for wanting to know what precisely went on here, because it was, it was 500,000 Facebook users, or sorry, not 500,000, big order of magnitude shift there. 50 million Facebook users were data mined by Cambridge Analytica, and this was reported on. And Facebook provided this data to Cambridge Analytica, and Cambridge Analytica just data mined it and learned everything they possibly could about these Facebook users, then used that to micro-target. And you might be wondering, doesn't this happen all the time normally? Well, it's not supposed to, but for people who look at how Facebook works internally with their ads and with their tracking and whatnot on websites, this was known to be something they could do, and it was long assumed that they would. It's just we didn't know it was this magnitude of 50 million Facebook users that were data mined here. And that's what's causing the whole huge concern with this, is that the EU especially is very, very concerned about this, because they have really strict privacy laws in the EU, and this is a non-starter for Facebook. So huge issue for Facebook, caused their shares to tumble as well. And I know Mark Zuckerberg has also been selling shares off recently as well. You kind of got to wonder if maybe...
He announced that months ago, CEOs and various other insiders have to publicly post under the, assume it's the SEC, they have to publicly post a while in advance if they're going to sell shares, just because, if they know they're about to make a big change that a lot of people might not like, that's going to tank their stock, they could sell a bunch of shares beforehand. But, they're also not required to sell them when that time comes. So it's kind of iffy.
Yeah, totally agree with that. And
But it's also like a very, very small amount of his total shares.
yeah,
But
but the money that
digress.
it's worth makes it look like a lot for us normal folk.
that's true. That's true. It could be, I think it was on the order of several $1 million, right?
Yep.
Which is pocket change to him, but you know.
Indeed. And, this really ought to shake up everyone who is using Facebook, because it is possible. It has been proved that it has been done. And Facebook says that, Mark Zuckerberg himself actually said, I started Facebook, and at the end of the day, I'm responsible for what happens on our platform. I'm serious about doing what it takes to protect our community. And Facebook has also put out a 5-point bullet plan of what they're going to do with this. And that's summed up quickly as: number 1, review our platform. Number 2, tell people about data misuse. 3, turn off access for unused apps. 4, restart or restrict Facebook login. And 5, encourage people to manage the apps that they use. So that's what Facebook is going to do in the wake of this. And unless a government comes down on them, I think that's the limit of what we're going to see. And in general, at the end of the day, I hope that this is just a good wake-up call for people who use Facebook to be aware of what they're giving Facebook access to, and by extension other companies, when they sign up for one of these applications or one of these services.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to say it's about time that people started focusing in on this as an issue with modern day social networking. Facebook is the biggest. Twitter is also in on stuff like this, and Google as well. But it's about time we start seeing this. Anything else before we move on to our next piece of tech news?
Not really. I never liked Facebook very much anyway. I mean, I had to use it to do some fundraising, but other than that, I just thought it was kind of trash. I don't really want to, I just really don't care what someone's crotchety old uncle has to say about MAGA. That's all it is anymore.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, then, we're going to move on to our next story, and this is that Amazon has announced its cloud-based gaming service called Game On at GDC this week. And the idea behind this is this will enable publishers and whatnot to perform esports-based services using Amazon as a core partner with this. And what they say they want to do is they want to provide a flexible.
What?
Freudian slip. Oh, boy.
A flexible set of APIs that will help developers add esports competitions into games. And this is built on their existing cloud services platform. And, examples of companies that are currently using this are Enway, Game Insight, Millennial Esports, Eden Games, Umbrella Games, Nazara, Mindstorm, Mokuni, Avix, and Game Cloud Studios. Anyone ever heard of any of those?
Nope.
No, but I'm kind of disappointed. When I first read the headline with this, I was like, oh, cool. I thought it was going to be like, the Microsoft version or the
Sony version, another streaming
Sony
service.
version. Yeah, but
Yeah.
no, this is just for esports. I'm like, well, that's crap.
Yeah, and I think this is the next logical step for Twitch as well, because if I remember correctly, Amazon does own Twitch. Yes?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
They own everything.
Yeah, and
Google and Amazon.
yeah, pretty much these days. And I don't know if how people are gonna react to this, because I mean, if it starts getting integrated into Twitch, then there's gonna be no avoiding it. But if they get big signups like Blizzard, for example, or maybe even EA, if EA ever does decide to do esports in the future, that could make it a point of no return, where it just becomes something that is ingrained as the esports services company. Kind of like how Gatorade provides the drink pitchers at sporting events.
I mean, I can definitely see it going that direction. And whatever. I don't think that's as bad as some of the other things that have been going on with Twitch lately.
Or the Amazon
There's
Alexa
definitely
stuff we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, there's good and bad, but there's been some really really big people coming over from YouTube that are not gamers. In fact, they're just jerks, and now here they are. Yay! Get to compete with them too. So I'm not bitter. Yeah.
The API is free until May 1st of 2018. After that, the first 35,000 plays a month will be free, but then after that, developers will pay $0.003 per play, so a third of a cent. So this will, of course, go towards Amazon. And our last piece of tech news this week is Google Play Instant, which Google bills as a faster way of trying out games and apps from the Google Play Store. I think, Reed, you're the only Android one here, aren't you?
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I think Colton and Tanis, you guys are both iOS, right?
Yep.
Nope.
Okay. So basically what this will allow people to do is go to the Play Store, tap a button, and it will automatically launch the game or the app in question. And the idea behind this is it can be used as a way of free trial or as a way of just launching a game faster and removing that barrier to entry of needing to run the download. And the idea is that the game itself will be downloaded as you run it. And
so it's like the thing on the Xbox where you can start downloading a game, and then there's a point where it's like ready to play, but it's not fully downloaded.
Precisely.
Yeah? Okay.
Precisely. And you're going to be able to do it much faster because these games are going to be so much smaller than those Xbox games.
Okay.
Some of them.
Yeah. And examples they give here are Clash Royale or Words with Friends 2 as two games that are going to support it right out the gate. And I think that makes sense because then you can just link directly to your Play Store and say, here, download our game, and away you go. You have someone in your game within a couple seconds of pressing that install or play button. So it's going to be really interesting to see where Apple goes on this and if this catches on as more than a way of doing trials and demos on the Play Store. But unfortunately, I don't have a way of testing this to know if it's going to be the case. So we'll be watching this from our sources from afar here at Update.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's move on to other things this week. We're not going to talk about Skill of the Month this week because, well, Skill of the Month has flatlined in terms of the amount of XP being gained because it is summoning after double XP weekend, and we know how much of a drain that is on people. So we're just going to... Yeah?
It hadn't flatlined.
Well, in the last
looking
week...
at the same thing?
Yeah, in the last week.
No, we're not looking at the same thing.
In the last week, it was completely flat.
Never mind, my bad.
Yeah.
Okay, now I see it. It sent me to the one from July of 2017 for some reason.
Whoa.
What URL did you go
to? I just typed in Skill of the Month, and I guess that was in the autocomplete.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know, man. For some reason... Oh, here's a website bug for you, Shane. I'll let Mike deal with that.
Oh, I can fix that.
Anyway.
One. The Skill of the Month's mine.
Oh, okay. I sent you a picture.
Thank you.
Oh, shit. I cut it off. My bad. Anyway, moving on.
Achievements of the week. We only got a few of them this week, so I'll run through these very quickly. We have Blue Hubbard with 99 Invention on March 20th. VSS with 99 Divination on the 19th. Zachmaster with 99 Strength on the 18th. Then on the 17th, we had the Firewatch with 99 Invention and Nextamarius with 99 Slayer. And then also on March 16th, we had the Firewatch again with 99 Farming and 99 Runecrafting. Congratulations, especially on that farming one there. Thumbs up. Well done.
Subtle.
Nice, guys. Nice job.
I gotta promote farming where I can. All right. Time for pick of the week. And Earth claimed this one as soon as he knew he was on the show this week. So
Mm-hmm. My pick is Burnout Paradise Remastered. It's for the Xbox One and PS4, and I believe it's coming out on the PC soon. It's an upgrade of probably the greatest racing game ever made. It was the first, to my knowledge, open world racing game before it had all been linear, and every racing game since then pretty much has tried to emulate it.
I saw an ad.
Just,
I saw one of those ad boards we were talking about the other day in the trailer here.
what?
How you mentioned that they put ads in the game.
Oh yeah, that's just part of the environment. So like within the game, and you're driving around a city, Paradise City, and
Grass is green
On
and the
the
girls
spot.
are pretty.
yeah, it's Shane's favorite song.
It's not.
Oh.
It wasn't. But like there are billboards on the side with ads, and I mean they're not intrusive in the slightest. I think it adds a charm to it personally, but you know I wasn't planning on talking about that. But anyway, and it just runs really well. It's been upgraded to 60 FPS and up to 4K.
It sounds like a game you'd want to get the 4K console for if you were truly a huge fan of it and see what it could do.
If
Wow.
I had a 4K TV,
True.
but you know.
That opens up a whole other can of worms if you're wanting to upgrade the entire chain of that.
Yeah, not now.
How are the crashes now, Reed? I remember
Oh my
the older
God,
one was like
that's-
that was the most awesome.
That's like I said a minute ago how pretty much every racing game has tried to emulate like what Burnout Paradise did. And like I think Forza Horizon 3 has come pretty close, but like you can't replace the crash and the takedown mechanic that Burnout has. Like that just adds so much to it. Because, like, you're playing Forza, you can, like, you know, ram into someone and knock them off the track, but you can't, like, go flying off a ramp, land on top of them, and destroy them, or something like that. Slam them into a wall and they go flying. Like, it just adds a charm to it. The soundtrack is awesome. So,
Sounds like it.
If you guys say so. I personally wasn't a fan of the original game. But that's just me. And I will
Shane doesn't like anything.
I will
so.
say that the graphical rework or the graphical remastering of it does look pretty good. So I will give it that.
I mean, I'm split on the whole companies just remastering games, but you know, so I think I'm kind of okay with it for some games like this one, because this is probably the greatest racing game ever. I mean, I don't think that they should do that for every single game that they've ever made, but there are some that I think justify remastering to bring into modern times, right?
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
Like-
At least
like-
until they give us backwards compatibility. We can
I mean,
play all
I
this
think I'm
stuff.
pretty sure Burnout Paradise is backwards compatible,
Is
like the
it?
original, but it
That's
doesn't
cool.
run at 4K 60 FPS. So, I mean, just bringing these things in line with modern times, like Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. I think Shane said he would be interested in like Call of Duty 4 remastered.
They did
or
that one
something.
last year. I was thinking more
Oh, they did
modern,
that one?
modern warfare.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, like that'd be awesome because those are classic games.
Yeah.
And a lot of people aren't going to get to experience it if they don't do this too. And like The thing that really got me about it was they didn't price it at $60, which is the standard. It was just $40, and actually GameStop was having a big sale this week, so I managed to snag it for $30. But like, I'm perfectly willing to pay. I'm not gonna pay $60 for a remaster of a game.
Exactly.
But I'll pay.
Yes.
I'll happily pay $40 for one. Because I mean, it's not a new game, but still a lot of resources went into it. I think the $30-$40 range is the sweet spot for that.
Yeah, someone should tell EA about that. Oh wait, this is EA.
Yeah, no, this is EA.
Yeah. Believe it or not, they're on a roll this week. They also fixed Battlefront 2, so yeah, they're having quite the week.
Nice. All right, so that's Burnout Paradise Remastered from EA. So what have we been up to on RS? Let's start with you, Tanis.
I have been, well, it took me a while to work on that quest, so I started last night and I didn't finish till like midday today. And then other than that, I've just been doing a lot of fishing and gathering energy and stuff. I'm just kind of letting my bank build over time. I've been doing that while I've been making videos and stuff of different games and stuff like that.
All right.
Oh, yep.
How about you, Colton?
Well, just recently I've actually been able to start playing at a regular basis again, which is nice. I'm not sure how long it'll last, but I'll make it last long. So I finally was able to grind out Menaphos and get the stupid tier 9 reputation so I could do Fight Club, and now I'm back to, so I have the quest cape back, and now it's back to the grind for Master Quest Cape. So I've got about the last 12 to 15 months worth of requirements that have stacked up on me since I last had the Master Cape. So it's not that much right now. I'm getting the Magister's pages, but I only have 103 Slayer, so I can't kill the Magister. So I've been grinding creatures down in the Sophanum Slayer dungeon, and it's taken, in about 4 hours of grinding, I've gotten the first 2 of 5. So,
you can get them from, you don't need to fight the boss then?
Yeah, no, I don't need to get 115 Slayer. They're a rare drop, and very rare drop from the creatures in the Sophanum Slayer dungeon.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. They're a lot more common than the Magister himself, but yeah.
Neat.
Ain't got time for that.
Neat.
Yeah.
How did you find the rep?
In terms of, I did Soul Obelisks all the way.
Good,
I just logged in daily and did my 20K, and I did Scarabs when I could, and that's what I've been doing. And so it took me a few weeks, but I made it, and the quests were all right, I guess. I mean, they weren't blow me away kind of thing, but I'm glad it's over. I'm glad I have the quest flag in the Max Guild is no longer half-mast, so yeah. It's
right.
Good.
And you read.
During the recent double XP weekend, I got 96 summoning after 10 years. So that was good. I did the quest. I did some other stuff on double XP weekend. Don't really remember what. Just used up a lot of Protean stuff that I had, I think.
Yeah, that weekend's kind of a blur.
Yeah. But 96 summoning was like my peak achievement that weekend, because that's, like I said, something I've been striving for 10 years. Damn, it's been a long time.
Pack Yaks.
Yep, Pack Yaks. And I did this quest, did most of it. Whatever day it came out, Monday or Tuesday, Monday, and then I finished it off today. All right. That's pretty much all I've been doing.
Splendid. As for me this week, I did the quest. But before that, I was testing out the changes made last week to the fishing frenzy at the Deep Sea Fishing Hub in terms of what they did in terms of making it so that your timer resets immediately when you click on the spot, and that makes it a lot easier to conserve your streak. And I got to 200 with no problem, and oh boy, that is so fast. I think I clocked it in at about 28k item XP per hour doing that.
Wow.
So, just over an hour 20, you can level up a full Rotomatic at the Deep Sea Fishing Hub. But of course, you will be focusing on just that. You're going to find it very hard to chat and whatnot as well. So you kind of got to pick your battles and choose what you want. But this week I did the quest, and then I just started farming some divine energy for funds that are sorely needed after double XP weekend for various things going forward. So that's what I'm working on right now. But I believe that's it for this episode of Update, unless anyone else has anything they want to say before we adjourn for the week.
Oh,
I'm good.
All right. Well, if you guys want to chat with us in the interim, you can find us in-game at Friends Chat BitsBytes, and the full show notes are available at update.rsbnb.com. And be sure to tune in on Mondays for the weekly bite on YouTube at youtube.com/rsbnb. That's where we give a quick rundown of the week's RuneScape updates and patch notes and get you ready for the main show of the week, and that is RSBNB Update, which you're listening to right now. But until then, we'll see you next week for another episode of RSBNB Update.
see ya.
Everyone.
Farewell.